I'm Lou Nolan. You're listening to Nasty Knuckles.
You're listening to Nasty Knuckles, the Hockey Outlaws podcast, with your hosts, Derek Nasty Settlemyre and former Philadelphia Flyer enforcer Riley Cote, as they go behind the scenes with your favorite NHL players. Time to face off.
All right, welcome back. What is happening, Nasty?
What's up, Rigarelia?
This is it.
This is it. Just coming up on the last game of the season for the Flyers, and but last week had a great time at our tailgate.
Yeah,
thank
a lot
you
of fun
for coming out.
It's a beautiful day.
It was awesome. It was awesome. I mean, the only thing that did surprise me was Debo in his little spandex shorts out there,
shorts.
sun tanning.
Yeah.
But it did attract the women. The women were coming around. And
it did. You got to get to those hard-to-reach places.
You do. You do. And Debo was feeling it. He was. And, Elvis won the Tovey sauce challenge.
Yeah, he did.
And,
he's lighting it up.
He kept asking me, like, what do I get? I'm like, well, someone else might have won something better, but you're going to get the 6-count number 3 at Chick-fil-A. Something you have every day, but that's what you're getting. But he was happy with it. So, but it was a lot of fun, man. It really was. Beautiful day. Met some new friends that came over and said hello, and Neil Little showed up.
Yeah, Litz, man. Good to see him and his
Baller disappeared. He missed when the only thing it was bad about Baller disappearing was he missed Sid and Jeff Carter coming over taking a couple shots with us right off the bus in their suits. But maybe somebody got it on film. We'll try to track that down for you.
It's got to be footage
somewhere.
Appreciate
it, guys.
There's got to be some footage somewhere.
Somebody's got it.
Someone had it for
us. Yeah. Maybe Paul Garfola got it for us. I don't know.
But it was a good time. Yeah. Again, nice smoking hot day. I actually expected to see a little more action in the parking lots, considering it was such a nice day. But however, the Flyers aren't exactly rocking and rolling, and there's no playoff push here. So I understand.
They rock and rolled that day, though.
Yeah, they did. You're right.
They actually played well.
Yeah,
actually played well that day. But you're right. Yeah, I think that had something to do with it.
Definitely. But down to one game to go. So maybe it's a relief for Flyer fans for this year and putting a period on the end of the season.
Yeah.
And then
it's been
retooling.
It's been a long one.
It's been a long one. It's been a long one. I feel like we said the same thing over and over and over again.
Almost 2 seasons.
Yeah, 2 seasons in a row. Yeah.
Now, so it's going to get better, though. We know that.
But all right, Nas, with the playoffs approaching, we're going to be firing up our playoff bracket challenge again.
Yes.
So we'll be throwing in our picks and a chance to win a Nasty Knuckles signed jersey.
Yes.
So stay tuned. We'll be throwing up the links on our social media to enter. Should be fun.
Yes.
Got destroyed last year, but try again this year.
It's going to be interesting, the playoffs this year. So it'll be fun to see the brackets.
But I think we're ready to rock. Episode 72, Nast, in the books. Appreciate Lou hopping on.
Yep.
This episode was presented to you by our good friends at Cureleaf, cureleaf.com, a medical marijuana dispensary in Pennsylvania. Check them out. Knowledgeable, helpful staff for all your pain, anxiety, and just maintenance needs. Check them out at cureleaf.com. Episode 72. Let's go.
Let's go.
Welcome back. I'm Riley Cote.
And I'm Derek Settlemyre. And this week, we have an absolute legend in Philadelphia. 50 years as the Philadelphia Flyers public address announcer, and much more than that, Mr. Lou Nolan. Lou, for the second time today, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be welcomed more than one time, actually.
Yes.
It's great to be here and be on with you two guys, two of my favorite people, and tell a few stories.
Yes.
Talk about things and how I managed to get to 50, and all I wanted to do was have a second game, as you well know. So it worked. And the third, and the fourth, and then a fifth year, sixth year. So it worked out. I'm pleased as punch to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time,
Absolutely.
man.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming by. And quite the feat. 50 years in any business is quite an accomplishment. So props to you for sticking with it and staying close to your passion and being a presence in the city of Philadelphia.
Well, yeah. As you well know as a player and you as somebody in the staff that makes sure everybody's got what they need, there are days when you don't want to go.
Sure.
You know, and you say, oh, man, I feel like shit. But you still go, and you're a professional, so it's important that you get there and do the best job you can. With me, it's just all I ever wanted to do was to treat the players right, make sure that I didn't mispronounce their names, and tell the fans what happened. Many of them could see. Many of them realized that they're 2 assists behind because they're watching the puck. But that's all I really wanted to do. And so far, so good.
Yeah, very good, I would say.
Yeah, I would say so too. Pretty impressive. Talk about how it all began. I know I think you worked in the press box at one point and then eventually found your way down.
Yeah, I did. It goes back to a love of the game created by me being a rink rat back in the minor league days when there was a team up at 46th and Market Street in Philly called the Ramblers. I was a grade school kid, and a classmate of mine, his uncle was a minor official, off-ice official. He was the first timekeeper for the Flyers, by the way.
Oh, wow.
His name was George Lennon, the young guy and the uncle. And we went up there Friday nights, and he went to work, and we just ran around the place and then skated afterward. Took the sticks that were broken home and taped them up, and went out and played street hockey. And then I realized that there was hockey on television. I don't know what day it was on, but once a week with the original 6 teams. And so I watched them, and I learned a little bit about it, enough to make myself dangerous.
Yeah.
And, then I used to go to Margate in the summers with guys and girls, and we'd run around and go dancing and do all the good things that we all love to do.
You're a dancer. I know.
Met a guy named Joe Cadillac, who was the first PR director, who worked for the Daily News and got the job. And I said, hey, if you need anybody to help you, I'll help you. We were out having a cocktail. I said, yeah, I'll help you. So we'll see. He says, come to a cocktail party, and next thing you know, I'm running the press box and handing out stats to guys and developing forms because the original 6 guys, the writers there, were smarter than the PR departments with the game and been around so long. They didn't need forms. They saw it all, and our guys, we just tried to portion the information out to as many people as we could for the publicity in the early years of the team, and it went from small crowds to medium crowds to sellouts for a long time, and I really attribute a lot of that to what we developed in there. So I did that for 5 years. The announcer left to go with the World Hockey Association team that was here in Philly, the Blazers, and I think Bernie played with that team.
Yeah.
And they moved to Vancouver. Bernie went to Miami or Toronto or somewhere, and next thing you know, I'm down doing the announcing there. Lou Scheinfeld, who was number 2 guy for Ed Snider, he said, come on in and do an audition. Well, they were putting the third level on the Spectrum, hanging it from the side, cantilever kind of deal. And, I asked the guys to turn the crane down. They had the crane going, and they're lifting pieces of things up. And I just said, excuse me, guys, I have an important audition here. Would you mind turning the crane off? Ying-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding. So they did. They turned the crane off. And I was always thankful of that. And Scheinfeld said, well, you got it. You got the job. So season started. And, I remember the first game I did, I got hit with a bucket of pucks. Kept the pucks in ice. Now we got freezers.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Hey, they got to be a certain temperature.
That's right.
Of course.
Everything's different. But there it was like throw the pucks in, throw ice in, and whatever happened. Seemed to be good enough then. I don't know why it's not good enough now. In any event, so I'm glad that it happened. I enjoyed it. I think the guy that threw them was Dennis O'Brien, played with Minnesota. And Bob Kelly was the guy he was mad at.
Oh,
of course.
why?
Yeah, maybe.
right.
Maybe. I think it was Kelly. I'm not sure exactly, but we had a good time there, and 1 year became 2 and 5 and 10, and next thing I know, I'm looking at 50, and the team's saying we're going to have a night for you. I said, whoa. Then the guys wore jerseys with my number 50 on the back of my name on them for warm up.
I know.
I said,
Super
whoa.
cool.
That was
I
awesome.
presented one to me.
Yeah.
A nice authentic tie down and everything else.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
It's great.
So it was an honor. It's been a great ride, and I'm still enjoying it. And I intend to do it as long as I can before they call me in and say, "Hey, we got to make a change."
Yeah.
It's inevitable unless I screw up. I'll know.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'll know.
Yeah, super impressive. And then I'd read somewhere that you had a fear of speaking. When did you find your voice, not just, speaking, but like actually having the confidence to come out of your shell and put yourself out there?
Well, I'll tell you, when I was a freshman in high school, West Catholic, I was scared of public speaking. And it became my turn. You sit there and they call the guys up one by one to read what they got or to make a presentation. And if it's your turn, you say, maybe they won't know I'm here. And he called on me, and I went up there, and, I just stood there. And all the guys were quiet, and everything was quiet. And he finally said, okay, sit down. And I just clammed up. I couldn't do it. I think that experience, I pulled on that experience and said, well, I have to do this. It's going to happen. I didn't have any idea that, what was going to happen with the Flyers. But, you just try a little thing here and a little thing there, and failure is important to move ahead in anything that you do and in any profession. Fear of failure is what will kill you.
Yeah, no doubt.
So you fail and try it again, and it worked pretty well, through high school and then at St. Joe's, and I was able to do things. And with the Flyers, I remember the first time I did a center ice thing, I was like shaking.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
I
But
bet.
I prepared. I had everything written down, ready to go, and now I feel good about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you could tell.
Yeah, right.
You're unbelievable at it.
My favorite thing at center ice, I think, I was talking about it the other night, and I saw Hexie, and he was in with Pittsburgh, and we were having a chat. And when he was put into the Hall of Fame, he had given me a stick. I arranged to bring the stick in, put it on top of one of the goals, and then bring that goal up near the end of the ceremony. And then I said, one last time, let's hear what you do, ring the posts.
Yeah.
And you know what he used to do every game.
Yeah.
Was the sticks all had the paint on the shafts.
That's right.
And he looked at me and he said, yeah, I'd love to. And he got in there, boppity, 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 bing, bing, bing. And we put it up there. And I still have the stick to this day, and it's a great remembrance.
Oh, it's awesome.
He said, that was terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to do that. I said, well, hey, you're the man. You're the man.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
That was a good one.
That was one of my favorite things when I was a kid. About him when I first saw him. I was scared to death of him. I've said that story
you and
before.
many others.
Yeah, right.
Like, I'd watched everything, so I'd come visit my dad, who was the trainer at the time, and I would come up a few times a year, and I just remember saying to my dad, it was a game day. He's like, I really want to meet Hexie, and he goes, it's a
Not
game
today.
day. It's like, let's wait till after, and you can, and of course he was awesome after the game, Hexie. But man, then when I came and my first year with the Flyers was the shortened season of 94-95, and we made a trade, Soderstrom to New York Islanders for Hexie, and he came in, and when I saw his pregame and the way he was, I'm like, it's a good thing my dad kept me away.
Yeah,
I would have
right,
been
yeah.
petrified. I'd never seen a more intense individual in my life.
Yeah.
Before and during a hockey game. He burned more calories in the locker room.
Oh, my
shaking
God.
and spitting and
Anxiety.
biting his nails. Yeah, everything, man. I'm like, how can you even focus on what you're doing, man?
Yeah, I guess everybody has their routines to do.
Right.
And as I do too, because I have to get ready. But it's not near as serious as a player. I remember once talking about goalies. We were at the All-Star game in Chicago, my wife Ellen and I, and with Cadillacs. And the story goes like this. We're in the hotel, and we're going to take the NHL bus to the game. And in the Peter Jennings, you may know that name. He was a newsman.
Sure.
Great newsman. He's in the lobby there. He's a Canadian. national news with NBC, I guess. And I went up and introduced myself to him. He's looking at a map. I said, "You going to the game?" He says, "Oh, yeah, we're going to the game." I said, "What, you plan on taking the subway? You looking at the subway?" He says, "Yeah, we'll take the subway." I said, No. Come with us. We got a bus." He says, "Okay." So I said, "Meet me here at such a time." So all these executives, Snider's in the first seat, and all these guys are there. And I come on the bus, and I've got Peter Jennings with me in my back pocket.
Wow.
And he comes on, and Ed looks up, and "This is Peter Jennings." He said, "Yeah, Lou invited me on the bus here. It's okay, right?" He says, "Yeah, sure. Go ahead." So we went to the game, but to go a little farther with it, we stopped the bus. Joe says, "Stop here. We'll go in the side door." It's terrible up there. Snowstorm, just brutal. And my wife had a fur coat, as did a lot of the people, the women. And Joe arranged to have them left in the boiler room with this guy he knew, this little French guy. Joe Cadillac. You know what it was like.
Who doesn't know Joe Cadillac?
Yeah, right.
So we left our coats there. My wife's saying, "Is the coat safe here?" I said, "Oh, yeah, no problem." Anyway, so we leave, and we're at the side door. Now, in All-Star games, the guys sit around. They sit around, and so they're all in the hallway. They're dressed. They're sitting around. And we're walking over guys to get to where we need to be. And at the very end is Eddie Balfour. And he's sitting in a chair. Now, he knows he's going to get bombed. And he's sitting there, and he's going like, he's not paying attention to anybody,
Right.
And I just think that the routines that you mentioned,
Right.
That's really one that I'll never forget.
Wow.
Great
Yeah.
game.
Riles' routine was he was there really early.
Yeah.
I couldn't even get a little nap in the afternoon, and then about 8 cups of black coffee.
At least.
At least 8 cups of black coffee.
that right?
Oh, yeah. 10 Sudafed.
Now you have a Red Bull, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then,
Mixing any stimulant you could find there. Pacing up and down the hallway. I think the only guy more intense than me, especially when Lavi came in, was Lavi.
Lavi,
Peter Laviolette.
yeah.
I mean, he was pacing up
matched
and down.
you on the coffee.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
and,
Yeah, right.
and everything else.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
A little
great
different.
stuff,
Yeah.
things that come to you in stories, and
Yeah.
just great.
Yeah, I know for sure. We'll talk about you're one of the classiest guys that you had to deal with in the penalty box, and maybe one of the least classiest guys. I know you've had a ton of dialogue with not just players but refs as well.
Yeah, well, okay. The least would be a young kid that played with Jersey Devils preseason, I think, because he wasn't very good. They were looking at him. I mean, he was
High number.
was huge,
just starting shit again here.
blonde hair, and his name Cale something, a Swedish type thing. So I figure he's Kali, right? So I called a penalty against the box. I said something like Kali Sandstrom or something of that nature, and he says, "Hey, asshole, it's Kale." I said, "Oh." So I said, you really need to have more respect for us. You shouldn't be doing this, This is preseason and so forth. And he yells at the timer. He says, Joe says, "Yeah, you should." And he says, "Shut up, Baldy." So now I'm pissed.
he's shaking the man.
Then Eric Lindros comes in and bangs on the glass right in front of me, the plexi, and it goes powder white and just falls into these little itty-bitty pieces like they do. And we all get out of the penalty box, including the guy who has the penalty, and they're coming in to clean it up and hold the game up. And Don Koharski's the ref, and he's standing right outside the crease with this kid. So I come out and I said, "By the way," I said, "you should have more respect, for us here in the box. We've been here a lot of years, and there's careers here." And he said, "I never said anything. I never said anything." I said, "You are one liar. You're a lying son of a bitch, And Koharski says to me, he says, "Louie," says, "get the hell out of here." It's I'm having a difficult time enough with this today.
Especially
I don't need you to
preseason,
get in the way.
Yeah, right.
But
Especially
the pot.
preseason, right? Because everybody's
nothing.
fighting.
Yeah, everybody's trying to establish something for
Yeah.
themselves.
Right.
So there was a parade in the box. 2 or 3 guys, many times each period. So
This guy came to visit you quite a bit
yes,
over the few years.
A couple little visits.
couple
Riles
visits.
did some business there. He was always very good in the box. He didn't ask for coffee.
No,
No, yeah.
We
I
didn't have
had
any
enough. I was trying to
Lou.
yeah, right.
Yeah, but he was a visitor many times, and one of the good guys. which is obvious, and a guy that had a long time as a player, probably coming up through the ranks. You're Canadian?
I am, yeah.
Okay, so when did you start playing?
I was 4 years old.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So 4 years, and you make it to the NHL, which is always a goal, to play in the NHL. And, the teams then, it was different hockey.
Oh, sure.
Different hockey than what we're seeing here. The Bullies, we talk about the Bullies. It was post-Bullies, of course, because you're a young guy. Mm-hmm. But, there was a heritage there for the Flyers that people expected us to take care of our own. And now you wonder about that sometimes.
Yeah.
Guys get hit. But you need somebody that would do that, and you did that.
Mm-hmm.
It was great.
Yeah, he did. Guys used to have said this before. Guys used to make fun of me because when he'd get in tilts, he was undersized for the guys he was fighting, heavyweight caliber guys, and held his own for 3 years there. But I used to be bobbing and weaving as he's fighting. And Harry Bricker used to be like, "You all right? You okay?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm just bobbing for him." Like he'd say, "He knows what he's doing. Don't worry about it."
Trying to avoid the punches for him.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I just didn't
Thanks,
want him to
Nast.
get hit,
You didn't have to. He did it
I
all.
didn't want to catch one of them.
Did you
No,
see me
not a
trying
good
to avoid
idea.
any punches? Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
right.
putting my chin out there.
That would be a really bad idea to catch one of those.
Yeah, especially me. But back to what you were saying. So this Cali guy, that's what we're calling him, even though he said Kale.
I said, call him Cali for
Yeah.
the rest of that game because I think his career ended that day.
Yeah, right.
But the classiest guy.
Oh, yeah. The classiest guy would be Steve Yzerman.
Makes
Who,
Not
sense.
surprised, yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And two sides to that, two instances. I worked with that glass back in those days.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't know any better, We get hit once in a while with sticks and pucks and people would come in. Hip checks. Remember those, don't you? Hip checks?
Yeah.
And so Steve got a penalty once after he had talked to me several times and got to know him a bit. And about assists for guys and changing this or making this different. And I said, gee, if you chip a stick today, he used one of those Louisville scorer stick, rounded on the edges and just a beautiful stick. And I said, if you chip one, save it for me. He said, sure, no problem. Anyway, he's got the hat trick now, and they're kicking our ass.
Thanks to you getting
Yeah,
pumped
that's
up.
right. And sure enough, I call him his first star. He skates all the way across the ice, hands me the stick, and says, see me after, I'll sign it.
That's
I
awesome.
said, oh, boy, what a great thing to do. Classy guy. And after that, at an all-star game, my family was with me for the festivities in a large room. The players were all there, and they weren't being chased around by young kids for autographs and things like that. They could just be themselves. And Steve just sat with us for 15 minutes and just got to know everybody, my wife and kids. And, it was just he's like that now, too. He's just got it. He's got it.
Yeah.
He does.
And let me add to the story. I took the stick in when he was with Tampa. I knew he'd be traveling because he had done it in pen. And I said, we got to get this in Sharpie.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta get this done.
Yeah.
So I brought it into the room where they change, opposite where they would put their equipment on and where they're taking the suits off and stuff. And Steve's in there on a computer with a couple other guys. And as soon as I walk in with the stick, he says, hey, Lou, how are you? I said, good, Steve. I said, I brought that stick. Now the guys are saying, what the hell is that stick?
Yeah, right.
Imagine.
How many years later that was?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, I do think that there was using composite sticks then.
Yeah.
So the guys didn't even, maybe they used wooden sticks growing up and they were almost square,
Yeah.
or rectangular. And the edges, they would sand the edges down a little bit, a lot of guys. But these came for him, ready to go. So everybody took a chance holding it and said, how the hell did you ever play with this stick? He said, I don't know.
He did pretty
So
good.
that's what I like.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
bad.
he sure did. He did pretty good. So he was the classiest guy, and a lot of guys are great.
Yeah.
I love the fighters; they're great guys. Zach Ronaldo is one of the classiest guys.
Yeah. I love Reno.
He'll go in there and as you've mentioned to me, a lot of times he's hitting guys with good checks, and in these days and times they're call him penalties.
Yeah,
Just
got
because
hit
he's
too
tougher.
hard. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, and he'd come in the box and he'd be sitting there. Hey guys, how you doing? Good. What's going on? He said, anybody got any chocolate?
Yeah.
He always wanted M&Ms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the guys brought them in a cup from brought them from the press area, and they'd have them and they'd pass him a cup over, and he'd eat M&Ms out of the coffee cup.
There you go. Yeah.
Energy, I guess.
Get a little
Energy, right?
sugar in
Yeah,
him.
a little
Yeah,
sugar.
exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You got to recover
So-
from the fight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I forget where it was that I ran into him, but still a guy that's a really sharp guy. Just a
Yes.
great guy.
Yes.
Terrific.
Yeah, he just oozes orange and black. He just fit
Yeah.
right into the
He
Flyers
fit
culture
right
big
in.
time.
Absolutely.
He
Absolutely.
sure did.
Yeah.
Might have been an alumni game. I'm not sure, but yeah, he was good as usual.
Yeah.
Lou, I think we've probably told this before, but really quickly on Zach. So when he came to his first development camp, Riley was still playing, and we were standing out by the glass, and this is when they used to let him scrimmage 5-on-5. And he's basically the reason why they stopped doing that.
Yeah, right.
He literally
He knew one way to play.
Yeah.
he did.
Oh, yeah.
And he was there to make a statement.
Oh,
And
yeah.
He even said that to us when we had him on the show. He hit 3 guys and took them out of the game. And I mean, hit them clean.
Yeah.
But there were 3 guys laying on the ice his first 4 or 5 shifts, and the last guy he hit, one of the other kids on the team, is David Laliberto.
Yeah,
who
that's right,
actually
yeah.
addressed
Lally.
in the finals for us. Lally, great guy, not a fighter, but he jumped in because Zach absolutely decapitated someone, and when Zach took 2 punches, and
yeah.
poor Lally's laying on the ice. Now he's laid 4 guys out in about 5 shifts, but he hurt his wrist a little bit, so they take him off. So Riley and I go back, and we're sitting in my office at the skate zone, and he peeks his head around the corner and he goes, "Hey, Cote, that was for you, man." Like that.
Yeah, it was super cool because it was right in front of us, the
Yeah,
skate
he
zone
did it
there.
right. I mean, it was right where we were standing, and he looked up to Riley, and it was just kind of cool that he said, "Hey, Cote,
Sure.
it was for you, man."
Oh man.
Great guy. Great
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah, we still have a good
absolutely.
relationship with him. I coached
Yeah.
him actually with the Phantoms, and still keep in touch with him. But he's heart and soul, just
True
leave
flyer.
all- yeah, true flyer,
Yes,
true flyer for
100%,
sure, no
100%.
doubt.
Yep.
Speaking about true flyer and the culture of Flyers, to talk about how the culture's evolved over time, especially since the passing of Ed Snider and the culture of the Flyers now.
Okay, well, let's start at the beginning because I saw all the years.
Right.
I'm an original Flyer, so I saw the team struggle early. They drafted guys that were made available. We had a couple of good goalies, but there were other guys that were a little long in the tooth. And we managed to finish first with a losing record of like 1 or 2 games. So we're in the playoffs. And, that got young guys, and then drafted Bob, and that helped certainly.
Yeah.
And began to move, and then Ed Snider made sure that we had guys that would defend our good players,
Right.
and then the bullies came, and Moose and Selesky and Bobby Kelly and Dave Schultz and people like that, and that was another era. And 2 Stanley Cups, almost a third.
Yeah,
A couple
right.
guys got hurt, and there was an offside call, I guess,
Yeah.
by one of our favorite guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good guy, Leon Stickle.
Right.
But he just saw something different, and he admits it than it really
Yeah.
was.
That was way off.
Yeah, it was not just. It was not close. It was way
It
off.
was not close.
And then we had the era when Howie and those guys played, and he's being honored by the sports writers this Monday, I think, at the dinner.
Okay.
And next time around, they were good. Timmy Kerr,
Yeah.
Poulin,
Oh.
went all the way except for the last game in Edmonton, I guess, when Timmy Kerr and Pooley didn't play
Right.
and were hurt. And I don't know what the score was in that, but a loss is a loss. Then you go fast forward to some successes and some teams that were pretty good. Team in Chicago against Chicago that almost did it. And we still have a goalie looking for that shot. And it's just, it happens.
Right,
It
it happens.
does.
It's a shame. And the referees didn't even know it went in, but I knew it went in
Yeah.
when, their players going up the ice throwing his gloves and
Yeah,
throwing
right.
his sticks.
Thanks
and,
a lot,
Yep.
Kaner.
Kaner,
That's
yeah.
right, Kane. And, now we go to this team and you start out strong. But I guess it was maybe 6 years. We just had 6 years ago, let me say that Ed passed. And things have changed. You got different people running the team. Their passion for the game would never match Ed, simply because it was his baby.
Right.
It was his baby, and it was tough. And I know that when Brizgalov, that he was Homer was told, go get the best goalie out there,
Right.
bring him in, and he was the best at that time. Except he was crazy. I mean, he was a little bit nuts.
Yeah, right.
Continues to be a little nuts.
Yeah.
And you buy him out, and we're still paying him, I think.
Yeah.
God bless his soul. But and so a little different thing. Instead of Ed being at the head, it goes to Dave Scott, who's doing the best he can, and the GM. And you run into injuries, and you get labeled one way or another, and you try and put a team together. One of the big things in there that came in that I guess might be a detriment to really doing things the way Ed did was salary cap.
Right.
When the salary cap showed up, you couldn't just go out and buy people,
Yeah.
Right.
like baseball does now.
Yeah.
And you couldn't get better overnight without any worry about the economics of the game, which you have to now. So that would be, I guess, the biggest change in the game. Not to mention that referees are taught to call, anytime there's a stick up high hooking. Some of this stuff's ridiculous. It's not what it is.
Right.
And, granted, when you hooked the guy back in those days,
Yeah.
the
You
guy
were skiing.
spun around.
Yeah, you were
Skiing
skiing
on
on
him,
him.
yeah.
That's right.
Back in the day.
That's right. And so it's a lot different now. And the players adjust to it, and they play differently. There's no the amount of roughness. I mean, I think Merrill Reese and Mike Quick do a thing where they call something the Matt Plap of the game. It's when a big hit is made.
Yeah.
So whenever we see a hit, which we don't see a lot of them these days, I'm on the headset and I'm saying, "Oh, that's the Matt Plap of the game,"
Yeah.
and we get a big laugh out of it.
Yeah.
Some games there'll be more if somebody gets excited, but the roughness is different.
Right.
And there's not a whole lot of body work. Now, starting now, there will be.
Yes.
There'll be a lot
I was
more.
going to say it's.
And it changes.
Yeah.
So some of those big defensemen that maybe don't hit as much will begin to, especially guys like from Tampa.
Yes.
right.
They'll start taking
Yes.
guys out. And Florida's got some pretty good people, too. So we'll see what happens there. Who does Toronto play in the first round? Do you know?
Baller.
We'll figure it out. But in any event, I think that, Toronto's going to get a lot of goals. I mean, talk about this guy. He's got 60 now, right?
Austin Matthews.
Austin Matthews. And Marner feeds him the puck, and he just is in the right place, and he has a lot of confidence. And
he could shoot.
They're going to
Oh,
play
yeah.
Tampa.
Tampa, that's who it is.
Tampa and Toronto?
Yeah.
I think that's the one I want to watch.
Oh yeah.
That'd be good.
And I hope,
Serious.
I hope that Florida is on a different night.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
right, yeah.
It's a good point.
Because if
Good
you got to
point.
decide between two games, I'm going to root for Florida all the way, but I think Toronto and Tampa will also be very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
no
then
doubt.
Colorado.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
West.
know.
I mean,
Man.
good
Exciting.
I
Lord.
know. I'm always pulling for the Blues because of Chief. It's
Oh,
one
yeah.
of my best buddies. But I was talking to him a couple days ago, and it was actually funny. Jimmy Montgomery,
Know very well, yeah.
assistant coach there, FaceTimes me, and he goes, he's got all the coaching staff and the trainers in the coach's room in St. Louis, and he goes, start giving me some Chief impressions. So he's got the phone on me, and they're all sitting there, and I'm doing some of Chief's things, and they're just dying. But I told him, I'm like, being on the West, I mean, it's tough over there. And you
believe it.
talk about the rough stuff the other night with the Calgary game.
Oh, yeah.
that was old school, not like bullies, but a hard fought. Hitting, fighting, everything, and that's what you don't ever see anyone sitting down, do you, Lou? When there's a tilt, in the games like that, there's not usually
No.
many people
Everyone's
sitting down.
quiet, sitting down.
Yeah.
Nope. That's for sure. Many people will wait to watch ice hockey, till now.
Exactly.
I'm not like that because I have a stake in it, obviously.
Right.
and you want to watch it. And there are times when it's tough to watch the current team.
Yeah.
But that'll change. That'll change. And the young guys, it's a young man's game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And we've got young guys, and they get along for the most part, I believe. There's never everybody getting along with everybody. You guys know. I mean, there's always it's difficult when you get 20 guys or 23 guys or 25 to agree and get tight on everything for a full year. It probably happened with the Bullies, except for Clarkie when he used to take guys into the woodshed and tell, come on, get this freaking going.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He was that kind of a captain, a great captain.
Yeah.
But I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be something.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
For sure. I was just going to say, like, kind of going back to the culture of the Flyers, do you feel that the essence of the Flyers has been lost? I mean, I understand that it's no longer the Broad Street Bullies, and the NHL itself has evolved, hockey itself has evolved, but like just the essence of the Flyers now, do you feel like there's an ingredient missing that exudes what Flyer fans are used to?
Perhaps there is. What the key to it would be, to me, is find a real talented player who's tough, really tough, and is not afraid to, take a penalty now and then. When Lindros was here, I think that they actually tried to keep him out of the penalty box.
Yeah.
He fought a couple guys early on and just cleaned up.
Yeah.
And then when they didn't want him to fight, the guys took advantage of him, and that one Russian defenseman lowered the boom on him from the Islanders, and that started it all. But I think a big, tough player would be great to have. But, I mean, because of the way hockey is now, I'm not sure they're being tough as they go through junior. You guys would know more than I. You have better hockey minds than me. But, what I'm trying to say is, where are the big kids who are good and tough and not afraid to take a penalty and defend the other people? So maybe my answer is, a little bit.
Yeah.
It's changed a little bit.
For sure.
And going forward, I don't know. I've seen many fans who want the old stuff back. But the NHL doesn't want the old stuff back.
No, they don't. No. But I look at, like St. Louis, for example, you mean Chief, right? I mean, he goes into St. Louis and he turns that team around, and it was not because he told these guys to go fight. It was just the way they played the game. It was like that energy of being relentless and getting on pucks and skating and just being a hard team to play against. They bang and just they just play hard, right? And it's not about fighting. And I feel like Flyers have lost that essence of just being a hard team to play against. So when you come into the building, you're in for a fight, and it's not about the fight itself, but it's like the dog fight of the game.
There was a time when Montreal would come in here and they'd have guys sick.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
guys that couldn't play. I'm terrible today. I feel lousy today. I don't want to play here.
Flyers
Yeah,
flu.
they didn't want to play. Yeah,
Flyers flu. That's exactly right.
That's right.
And it's St. Louis is a tough team to play against, and a lot of it goes back to Chief because the leader he is with those guys.
Yeah.
And how he encourages them. Certain things they do, they're encouraged to do things. And that's been tough to do here, the coaching change was made here, and do the best they can. But, come on. It's just, they bring in a guy that's got the tremendous pedigree, and not everybody likes the guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Some coaches like to play younger players. Some coaches do not like to play younger players.
Yeah.
And remember Patrick Kane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was much better once he left and got a chance to get more ice time.
Oh, Patrick Sharp, you're talking about.
Sharp, rather.
Yeah,
Sharp.
right.
That's
Yeah,
one man. Patrick
exactly.
Sharp. I'm
because
sorry.
Hitch was one of those guys
Well,
that didn't
Hitch
love.
didn't
He didn't love young
Williams,
guys.
Justin
right.
Williams. He didn't want to play Willie.
Yep. Oh yeah.
I mean,
Good grief.
Yeah.
play the right way.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Those guys go off and have success elsewhere, and you give up on them too early. Just it's a shame that happens for sure.
Yeah. Well, there's no easy answer to that question.
No, there's not. No.
Teams go through metamorphosis.
Yep.
Nobody wants to admit that they're going to blow up a team and start over.
Right.
So it's yeah, we got the people here that we think we can do it with once everybody's back and so forth, and you add a couple of people. Well, sometimes you add a couple of people and the injuries come back, and next thing you know, you're winning at 10 in a row.
Yeah.
Or you're unbeaten in 10.
Right.
However that happens with these days. But, getting your points and not going through a long streak where the guys get down and you can't seem to get anything right.
Yeah.
Right. Snowballs quickly.
And the goalie's fighting the puck because inevitably some nights they will fight the puck.
Yes.
You could tell from the beginning how deep they are in the net or whether they're aggressive.
Yeah.
What's the night going to be like?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Lou, you just made me think of something. You're going back to the when the Flyers were playing in the finals, and I think it was a game to force Game 7 when J.J. Daniels scored. What I was going to ask you about that moment, I've watched that video, and I just remember my dad saying, my dad had never really sell it. Like, I was more hyper, like we were talking about earlier, like, you guys were had a bit of a fear of speaking. Everybody's always telling me shut the fuck up because I talk so damn much. But I'm more hype, and me and Labby used to jump into each other when we'd score a goal, and it could be a regular season goal, and we were just hitting each other. But there's a picture of my dad, and he's got both hands up in the air. It was when JJ scored, but he said he thought the roof was coming off that building. And
I've been asked that question when in comparison of buildings.
Right.
In other words, what's the loudest at the Spectrum, loudest in the Wells Fargo Center? And I always said that the loudest in the Spectrum wasn't really a cheer. It was a roar that built. May 19th of 1974, first Stanley Cup. And the roar began with about 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
Then Orr got that penalty. I mean, it was maybe a little bit longer than 2. Bobby got that penalty. And it's gets down to last minute, and I'm saying last minute of playing the third period, and you can't even hear yourself. Nobody heard what I said.
Wow.
My headset's crackling. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And you have goose pimples all over you. It's terrible.
Couldn't even
Not terrible. It's great.
Yeah.
Wish it would happen again. And then I equate that to the first game in the Wells Fargo Center when U.S. played.
Yes, I was there. I was on the bench for that game. Yeah.
And I think Johnny had a goal, and that was a huge roar there. And then Daniel, his was another one where the roof was going to come off the building because it's like, come on, we need this. Boom, you're there.
Yeah.
And you survived, and you had the opportunity to move ahead. And back then, pretty much the same people came over and over and over and over. And you see the same people sitting behind you. In the early years of the Spectrum, I saw families grow up, kids grow up. They bring me birthday cakes and stuff like that because the gas was low. So a lot of good stuff happened. And nowadays, it's difficult for somebody to sustain a full season's worth of tickets. It's just the way the economics is.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult. Players make a lot more money. It's harder to do different things. And it's just the times. It's the time. So people might sell off half their season ticket. Yeah. Corporate might own places that they give tickets out. There's a lot different changing there. But I think a lot of it will change when this team gets into the playoffs. The Roars will be back, and it will be much better. And every time you move up through another series, it gets better and better and better.
Yeah, that's the truth.
So that when we played Chicago, I know that and we lost that one here. That was the Roar was there for that too.
Yeah.
But not when you get to Game 7, and next thing you know, Clarkie gets hooked down.
Yeah.
And Orr's in the box. I mean, you're going to pick a guy to put in the box.
Yeah,
make it him.
No kidding.
Exactly.
Couldn't have been any better. Send him.
Yeah.
And it just was unbelievable. So here's the answer to that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You've seen so much. I mean, it's like I said, we need days to pick your brain and hear all the stories. But another one we can't not talk about is the Russian game with the Broad Street Bullies and that whole day.
True. It was good that yeah, that's a good one. Russians came in and they had beat some of our teams, and the whole NHL was rooting for the Flyers, although they really didn't before that.
right,
Clarence Campbell wanted the Flyers to win, and that guy, when he handed us the Stanley Cup, was like, it's like he was
last thing
living
you
a
wanted
nightmare.
to
it
do.
was just terrible. It's like he farted and it came up to his thing. And so here we were. I took the day off during their skate, and I wanted to be around to see what it was all about. And Joe Cadillac had told me, he said, we're going to take the Russians downtown to shop, so you should be along. I said, okay. So I'm there, and I'm standing in the hallway, and Boris Mikhailov, who's their captain, I didn't know who he was at the time, but he came out, and he looked at me and walked out of the locker room in his hockey underwear and stuff and gave me a pin. He said, thank you. And he stood there as if I get one in return, right? Well, I didn't have anything to give him, so I showed him. I didn't have anything in my pocket. I pulled out my change, and in my change was a Kennedy $50. And he said, oh, so he took that. 5 minutes later, there's 10 guys sticking their heads out of the room, giving me pins because they all want a $50. Well, I don't have any more $50. How many of them do you carry at one time? It's like a mistake if you have one.
Right.
So I said, I'll be back. I went to the bank and got a couple rolls of $50, and I came back and traded pins for $50. And I have unbelievable amount of Russian pins. And when they went on the ice for practice, the quote-unquote doctors, who really were KGB men with them, I guess due to the fact that there was the Cold War, Kennedy, Khrushchev, and all these kinds of things, went through their belongings and took all the $50 and confiscated them from the players. Wow. I don't have any more. Guys asked me, the interpreters, do you have any more of them? And I gave them all out. But I always thought that was bad. Of course, then you move to the next day, which is the game.
Right.
And we're defending the honor of the NHL. And things are going along. And again, it was back in the work with that glass era, so it was right up and close on all this. And, Van Imp has his elbow run into by Valery Karmelov, who's one of their better players.
Try to hurt his
Not
elbow.
the best.
Yeah.
Or his elbow.
What a dirty play to run into his elbow.
Yeah, why would he do that? He wanted to hurt Ed.
Yeah.
He wanted to hurt Ed. Well, he went down, and he stayed down, and there was no penalty, so now they're pissed. They're really pissed. And they're all around their bench. Coach calls them over, and so the referee comes over, and he's talking to a fellow that's sitting with me with the name of Aggie Kuklowitz. Now, there's a name. Imagine that on an autograph.
Yeah, right.
Old day.
Full page.
In the old days, not these days, it'd be like today.
Yeah, exactly.
And so he says, what do we do, Aggie? He says, I guess I should go talk to them. And Lloyd Gilmore is a ref there, single ref those days. And he says, yeah, give him a penalty for delay of the game. So I said,
Here we go.
So so they get a penalty instead of us getting a penalty. Now they're really upset.
Oh, yeah.
And they leave. And they're looking at one another, and our guy's over there. And Aggie says, I better go talk to somebody. And the ref says, that's a good idea. So we go over. I went over with him just to get a feel on what was going to happen. I mean, they may not come back,
Right.
I got to cancel a game. Wouldn't be a good idea. And the fans were nuts. They were nuts. They hated them. And so down the hall, as we're coming up the ramp, comes Ed Snider. And he's pumping along.
Oh, when he's
Oh,
pissed.
man.
That walk.
He's got his head up in the
I was going to
air.
say,
Oh, man.
red.
Veins are popping out of
Yeah.
his neck, and he's just crimson. And he goes by everybody and bangs it right through their thing into their room. I says, holy jeez. So Aggie goes in, and they're talking back and forth. After maybe 5 minutes, Ed comes out, and he says, they'll be back. They'll be back in 5 minutes. Go tell the people. So I go over across the ice, and I said, we'll resume the game, in 10 minutes or whatever. The Soviet team is coming back, and they're sharpening their skates. Or I don't know what I told them they're doing. And sure enough, here they come. Now, they put those guys out again. The next thing you know, we have a couple of goals.
Right.
and including one by Joe Watson.
Joe Watson.
Yeah.
Freddie said set their program back, a decade. And in any event, we went on to win. They got their money, which was what Ed threatened them with.
Right.
No money, because Alan Eagleson, who ran the Players Association, agreed to have them paid after our game. So we had something on them.
Yeah.
And I guess it was substantial.
It's a good idea.
Talking about
super smart.
8 games, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So
Like
it's
that.
a lot of games, a lot of
Yeah.
money. And I guess they realized they were going to have to use the Soviet economy, which was a mess, and live for another decade with the smelly pads and little pads. Oh, it was terrible. You know that.
Stinky room.
Just
Yeah.
terrible. And they would get a guy in the penalty box. Whoa.
Ooh.
That's bad, eh?
And so they agreed, and they left with their tails between their legs, and it was a great event for us, and just one of the best days ever.
Yeah. It's
I would say one of the best days ever to be an announcer and to be as close to all that as I am.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's funny. I have a Russian story about them playing the Maine Mariners. My dad was in Maine as the trainer, and I think I was about 5 or 6. And long story short, Jim Turk Evers, who's the equipment manager, he was there working with my dad. Now he's a teenager, and I'm like 5, maybe 4, 5, 6, and we're right before the game. They hadn't gone out to warm up shed, and Turk says to me, "Hey, Derek, you see those? What they were? They were spotlights, but I don't know what they are." He goes, "Those are machine guns." And I'm like,
Jeez.
"What? Why?" And I'm 5, right?
Yeah.
So he goes, "Well, the Russian guys are crazy. Like if their goalie loses, they'll shoot him. They're going to shoot him right on the ice." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like a little kid, and I go running in the locker room. I'm like, I'm like getting upset. I'm like, "They're going to shoot the goalies." And my dad's like, "They're not." Turk, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? He's telling me these lights are machine guns. They're going to fire the goalies.
I can see. I can hear Sudsy right now. Turk, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Do it, man.
Yeah, just looking at him.
That's not quite as good as your day with the game.
I'm reminded of a story the first year of the Flyers, and it involves a sports writer, and I was on the charter to Montreal, and we are ahead in the game 4-2 at the Forum. First time we're there, and we're an expansion team. Rochefort has a hat trick, and he played with the Canadiens. Remember, they drafted him from Montreal. So maybe you weren't even a 5-year-old then.
I might not have been that.
And so I'm sitting in the press box next to a guy named John Brogan, who wrote for the Bulletin, a defunct paper now. And he said, listen, maybe 5 minutes left in the game. He says, "Go down there and get some quotes from Keith, for me, will you?" I said, "Sure." I don't know anything. I don't know shit from Shinola about it. I run down as fast as I can. And in Montreal, you could actually walk right out of a tunnel and walk right up to the bench. And so I walked out of the tunnel, walked right up to the bench. There was about 2 minutes left, and they're changing lines. And guys are jumping on and jumping off. And I said, "Keith, John Brogan sent me down to get a couple quotes from you about how this game's going." He says, "What?" He said, "Lou," he said, "tell him that I'm pleased if it works this way." And so he said a few things. And he says, "Now get the hell out of here." Now, up in the press box, they're watching the game, and the goalie's pulled from Montreal, and we're jumping guys over. And all of a sudden, John says, "And then I see you come out and walk right up to Keith Allen with like 2 minutes left in the game." I said, "Oh, well, tell me, be more succinct with what you want me to do."
Yeah, right, yeah.
Right.
But afterwards, Keith said, "If we'd have lost that game,
Oh, man.
you'd have walked home
imagine?
from Montreal." I don't know.
Having a
That's
tough
great.
start, yeah.
You didn't know.
Oh, man, that's
Do what you're
classic.
told.
That's right. And
Yeah.
that's just like the machine guns. That made me think of it. Machine
Yeah.
guns
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
right,
on the goalies.
exactly. That's hilarious.
You just believe stuff,
Yeah, right.
Do
Yeah.
what you think you should do.
Yeah. Talk about your relationship with the Spectrum. Obviously, you're there, roughly 25 years, and then eventually they make the decision to, well, probably longer than that. You mean the center was already in existence by the time they took it down, but talk about your feelings towards when all that took place.
Well, the building was great building to watch hockey.
Yeah.
It was easy to get around from the
Yeah.
press box right down to players. Now it's more difficult, obviously. But I always tell people that the Spectrum could fit inside the Wells Fargo Center width-wise, the width. And great building. Just a wonderful, wonderful hockey building. A lot of good concerts, Yeah. I mean, I did a couple of basketball games there for the Sixers when guys were sick.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, I did a lot of stuff there. In fact, I did the first lacrosse game there. Fitz Dixon, who was one of the owners, asked me to do his game. When they came in, they flew a bunch of Canadian guys in to play. And it was it happened to be after the Stanley Cup win. So, I mean, I was like 3 sheets to the wind when it did the game. But it worked out.
Sure.
And when it came time to move the new building, big difference. But when it came time to say goodbye to that building, I remember Ed Snider having the absolute last party in there, and he had it draped like you were coming into a Hollywood premiere.
Right.
Somebody took your car and you walk down, and you come in the back and you go out, and shrimp were the size of bananas. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And when the guys found out that I wanted to have Crown Royal, they didn't have any. They went over and got it.
Oh, wow.
At the other building and brought it back for me. But that kind of stuff. I mean, it was, Ed was something else. And then when it came time to say goodbye, I remember they asked me to be the head man up on the dais with a bunch of people, including Dr. J and Bernie and Clarkie and members of the alumni and different people that had been dealing with the building through all those years. And there was a big crane there. They were going to punch a hole in the building or knock the building down when we finished. It was like the last thing we were going to do. So guys spoke, and Ed was there. And when Ed was finished, I said, now you'll hear from our chairman, Ed Snider. Da-da-da. He says a few things about how much he loved the building. He gives me the mic back, and he says, thanks, Lou. I said, thank you, Ed. He gets in. The guy pulls up with his truck, his car, SUV, gone. Didn't want to be around to see what happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, after it all got done, we all turned around, and we're looking at the building. They fire up this huge crane with a big, like a ball that they use for wrecking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they take it, and they're getting the momentum out. They're moving it back farther. When they finally bring it in, it hits the building, bounces off the building. I mean, that building was...
Right.
So after like 3 or 4 of them, they finally punched a hole in the building, and Lou Scheinfeld, who was there, said, let's cut it. We can't do any more of this. So it was a goodbye thing. Good night, goodbye.
Right.
And the people that were there left. They turned the crane off. But taking it down was really tough.
Yeah.
Taking it down was really tough. And I remember one of the last days that I saw it, it was like the bones, all the bones, and most of the skin was off.
Yeah.
And I went down and I looked at it, and I drove around the block and looked at it, and that was it. After that, say goodbye. But what a building.
That was
Yeah.
What a
Incredible.
great hockey building.
I loved it.
Yeah. I loved it too, man. It was the transition to the center. It was almost tough for me playing, with the Phantoms at the Spectrum.
Oh, sure.
It was just like there's something so, I don't know, just so ground level and just intimate about it. And
It was
the energy.
hockey.
Yeah,
It was hockey. It was a hockey building.
Right.
It was.
You know?
It really
Yeah.
was.
Weren't the Grace the best amenities, I guess, but we didn't know any different.
Well, that's it, right?
Well, it was great.
Yeah.
It was easy to do things there, and good ice, and certainly one of the great buildings. I mean, I was there when the roof blew off.
Yeah, right.
Then
yeah.
I made those trips to New York and some games up in, I guess it would be Quebec. We played some games there, and it was a terrible time. But it finally got together, so
Yeah.
which was good.
Lou, there's something else that we have in common besides working for the Flyers, and we're both Olympians.
Oh yeah,
In some sort of way. But 2002, I think, Salt Lake.
Yep.
You were asked to to be the main man, which you are. Tell us about that.
Well, I was working at home, and the phone rang, and picked it up, and was this is the Salt Lake Organizing Committee. So I said, okay. I said, we want to ask if you would do the Olympic hockey broadcast. I said, who is this? Who is this? Who's got me?
Yeah,
Somebody's
right.
getting me. When they finally convinced me, I said, well, yeah, I'd be honored. What are the details? And I mean, it's not something you can go and spend a weekend. It's a commitment.
Yes.
So I made that commitment, and it was during the right after 9/11, so it was tight as could be.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And I remember flying out on the airplane, and it's full of a lot of people that are going there. I'm sitting next to a woman, and the flight attendant hands her a piece of paper with a bunch of seat locations on it. And I said, oh, what's that? She says, oh, well, that's just the seat locations of other folks that are on here carrying weapons. I said, well, weapons? She said,
You want to speak
"Yeah,
in my good ear? What'd you just say?
I said, weapons? She says, yes, I'm a federal agent. And there are a lot of us on this airplane. We're going out to see what it's like. It was just the first time we're out there, then they sent us back. So did that, and that was, I remember, I'll never forget that one. And, going back out and doing the games and sitting, eating food with soldiers, with, carrying M16s.
Yeah. Wow.
And it was a scary time. But it worked out okay. A lot of mag and bag, like the airport, getting in, and
Yeah.
knowing what we could wear and shoes, and not having a lot of metal things on us. And it was quite a time. I remember doing a game. Oh, and it was the first game we did. I was men's English, and we had a French guy there because English and French. Then we had a women's guy, and the guy said, "Listen, our first game is a women's game, but we want you to do it because you're the senior guy." Okay, it's China and Bulgaria or something. So I'm reading the Chinese names, and the French guy, he's on headset, and he's funny as hell, and I'm doing the names, and he says, "Hey Louis, they're all looking at you." That's a bad thing when they look at you.
Yeah, right.
One by one, you do. I'm saying the names, and they're going.
Kaylee?
Kaylee, yeah.
They're all backwards because the Chinese names they gave me. I no paper. It's all on computer.
No way.
They're backwards. It's like the name in China is it would be like Cote, Riley.
Right.
So I call you Cote Riley.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know any better. But they fixed that all up. So that was one of the things. Second one was I recall was Lindros picking up a penalty and getting in the box, and it just shows you about concentration. It was not in the first period. I had done some announcements, and he gets in the box, and he's there and puts his stick down and turns around and says, "Louis, what the hell are you doing here?" I said, "What am I doing here? I mean, no, I'm working. What are you doing here?" He says, "I'm working." So it was a neat thing. I always got along well with him.
Yeah.
And on the 50th thing that they just did,
Yeah.
he presented my wife with a great bottle of wine. So he was part of that ceremony, which was great.
That was
a great
amazing.
thing to happen.
It was amazing
Yeah,
to
super
see
cool.
that.
But the Olympics was a lot of fun.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
commitment,
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
but worth it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure. It's
Just for the swag.
Yeah,
no,
right, yeah, exactly.
It speaks a lot about you, though, that you're the guy they called. So I definitely wanted to bring that up. And
Nice of you.
talking about your special night a few weeks ago, was a real special moment, I thought, after the game with a former Flyer, Anthony Stolarz, coming over. If you want to talk about that.
Yeah, I got to know Stoley when he was here, and he had a cup of coffee here. But he would always he was a great guy. He always participated in things that help people, and they would say to the players, "We're going to be with some crippled kids that play hockey or something like this, or and who can go there?" And I would go, and I would announce a game, and a couple of players would go. It was always Stoley was always in those players.
Yeah.
So I got to know him that way, and I always liked him. And sure enough, end of the game, I'm still doing on that special night. I'm working downstairs, and hadn't all year, and so I'm announcing. Next game is so and so, and here we are. We lost again. Next game is so and so, and I look up and I see Stoley coming over, and he came all the way over to me to congratulate me and say hello. It's just such a classy thing from a terrific guy.
Yes.
They don't come any better. And I said, boy, this guy's got it,
Yeah.
I don't know how long he'll be in hockey, but whatever he decides he'll do, he's going to be successful at it just because he's a good man.
Yeah, we were there and with some of the Warrior guys, Philadelphia Warriors.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we were standing there talking, and I saw him skate over, and I'm like, that's Stoley.
Yeah,
I mean,
Stoley's
that's
awesome.
I thought that was really, really cool.
That Warriors thing is so terrific. I did some of the games,
Yeah.
and they now have 3 teams, as you well know.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, I'm former Marine, so I connected with a few of those guys there. And we one of the games, like the primary A team or whatever, was playing against Colorado, I think, over at the skate zone.
Oh, yeah, we were there. We were there. when
And,
you were doing that, yep.
and there was nobody to open the door. And, so I'm announcing, and somebody's running the clock. I'm doing the penalties. So they didn't go in right away. There was like a dust-up, nasty game.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I
we were
remember
there.
that.
It was awesome.
Brad lost his
Brad
shit.
didn't like it, but everyone else did.
I'm saying to the guy from Colorado, I says, you're in. He called you. And I says, he gives me a fuck you. He's giving me shit, and they went after him. Our guys.
Oh, good.
Yeah, because they could connect with me. They
Right.
like attacked the guy. I said, oh, jeez.
You're always starting shit, Lou, in the
I know,
box.
man, it just happens. It just happens. But, I think that's a great program. And
It really is, yeah.
It is.
Marshy and, has done a great job leading that, and those guys I can't say enough.
Yeah.
They're wonderful. They gave me a jersey
Oh, awesome.
That's awesome.
with 50 on it and my name.
Yep. That's awesome.
That day, they came down into the first period and presented me with that.
Great group of guys. We're really tight with those guys.
Yeah,
we do a
Rob
lot of
Bear.
stuff with them.
Great
Yeah.
job with
Yeah,
him.
Rob, yep.
Rob's terrific.
Done a hell of a
And,
job.
Yeah, it's terrific.
Yeah. Well, before we let you go, you've made thousands of calls in 50 years. Your signature call, PECO Power Play. How does this evolve to what it is today?
Well, several years ago, I don't know how many, I was told that the power play is going to be sponsored. So you'll have to say so-and-so power play. Okay. I know we were the first to do it. And so we get a power play, and I say, the Flyers are going on the PECO power play. So my producer says, no. He says, more, you got to give it more. So 2 or 3 times, and then finally it gets to where I'm like it is now, and it's its own life. It's just amazing. And I don't know how long PECO will have it, but they have it now. And I don't know who would take it after, but probably somebody from Comcast or something like that, if and when they don't do it.
Right.
But it's amazing, and it's like it's gone, and what it is, and the Flyers are going on the PECO power play.
Beautiful.
That's it. Baller,
Give me
how are your
shivers,
ears?
man. Give me shivers.
I
yeah.
know, man. You talk about getting chills. That's awesome, man. And it's amazing how I think I heard you saying one time talking about like obviously season ticket holders, but kids growing up may be like, you see them and you say hi, and then parents are like, this PECO power play, it's Mr. Lou. And they're like, oh, and they know, right?
Yeah, what they don't know is who I am. But
They know the voice.
But I see
PECO power
somebody,
play.
and I'm walking down, and they'll say, "Hey, how you doing? I'm so and so. I've been here, ticket holder for so long, and all." And they say, "Yeah, this is the announcer Lou Nolan." And they go, "Who?" And then I say, "PECO power play guy." And they say, "Oh,
Of course.
So it's amazing. It's just,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
You should be getting paid, PECO. You should be paying this man.
Yeah, right. Get some
'Cause,
royalties.
everybody knows PECO power play.
100%.
You know what I mean? It is amazing.
Well, years ago they did a you know the thing at Staples, that was easy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right.
They did one just like that. It has a Flyers logo on it, and I did a couple of things, and they did 3,000 of them and gave them away one night at the Flyers game. Then we did 300 of them again for their people from PECO who wanted it. So I get paid a little bit, but
Yeah.
I don't get paid every time. But that's a good idea.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it
You
is.
probably kept that sponsorship alive for all these
Yeah,
years.
no,
'cause
I mean-
where else are they
Well,
gonna get
people
that
don't have any
sauce from?
choice, I mean, they're going to be PECO or whatever.
Yeah. No,
Right
it's
on.
awesome.
Well, we appreciate you, Lou.
Yeah.
You got a little bit of a trek home, and
People don't know how long this actually took.
right.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate the opportunity to be here and, on Nasty Knuckles because it just means a lot that guys that are your friends want you to be part of what is important to them. So I thank you too.
Oh, please.
I appreciate that.
We're
Yeah, it's
honored
been
to
awesome.
have you.
Yeah,
Honored to
man.
have you. For sure. Absolute legend.
Yeah, quite the
We
career.
appreciate you. Yeah.
50 years is
and
no joke.
my son Elvis is your good buddy, and Lou always held a spot for me, and he would always say, "I got your spot, Elvis." So Elvis used to stand beside Mr. Lou and give the boys the knocks as they went out. So he
Super
was
cool.
always
Yeah, Elvis
looking
the
for,
best.
He was always looking for Mr. Lou. So anyway, it's funny too. Real quick, I know you got to go, but when we were at a game a few weeks ago, well, your game, the 50th anniversary night, you were back in your normal spot. And then the next game we went to, he's asking me, where's Mr. Lou? Because I was like, we went down for warm-ups, or close, because Provy said, I'll throw you a puck tonight. So we were down there, and I'm looking for you, right? And I can't see it. And I was like, he should be in here because you were there that one game. I thought you were back.
Yeah.
And he's losing it the whole game. He's not in there. And I'm like, I think he's in there, buddy. But where we were sitting, we couldn't see. And then someone, one of the intern girls came over, Mary, sweetheart, she came over, and she's like, no, he's not in there. He's up there. I was like, oh, sorry, bud. I was telling him you were in there. He's like,
I
no,
may be
he's
there
not.
tomorrow night.
Oh, really? Okay, for the last
Oh.
game of the season?
Yeah, for the
All
final.
right.
All right. Well, anyway, we appreciate you so much, Lou. You are the man. And let's just do another 50. Why not?
Yeah.
Oh,
you got another
well, I
50 in
don't
you.
know about that. I want to be able to see. I have to do it. Well, but it's good. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I don't know, maybe 10, 5.
Yeah, let's do
There
it.
you go.
Whatever you want. When you do it as long as you want because you're the man.
Thank
So,
you.